With 2021 finally coming to an end and a few people asking me why I haven't done this yet, that's because I was leaving it till as late as possible. And I mean, it's not like it's 2022 in, depends where you are, less than a day or a day and a half. Can't leave it too long because, well, Barrow is basically going to be the last thing I do in 2021. Warframe related. But, have to. Every year at this point. Top 5 weapons of 2021. And we'll just jump straight into it. In at number 5 is the Nell Prime. Very early on, this was going to be in the top 5 because in the hands of Harrow it does have a second round. It has the ability to have not infinite ammo, but increased damage on headshot. It's a scoped secondary. It has 40% crit chance. The status is kind of pants if we're being honest, but get yourself a good ribbon for this, and it is a really powerful secondary. This was in my top 5 before they even released it, if I'm being honest. The only problem with it is you can't swap to your operator upon using it, otherwise, well, it breaks. That they are fixing as soon as they come back off their winter holidays, but upon release it was broken. And hopefully they fix it sooner. Literally, I would like to say it one of the first hotfix, if not the first hotfix of 2022. Because it deserves to work properly, because that bonus it has when you land a headshot is great, especially when you're using it normally and it has 1 round. When it's in Harrow's hands or Harrow Prime's hands and it has 2 rounds, that's basically gives you twice the chance of actually landing that headshot. Or you can do what I do and basically use it when cracking relics, and then it has infinite ammo constantly. Number 4 is the Tenet Exec. The only thing that I had for this is I didn't want duplicate versions of weapons. To be fair, in the past I've said no prime weapons in this, but the Nell is a silly strong weapon. The Tenet Exec, on the other hand, it is still technically a new weapon, so it does kind of count. You do have to get a hold of 40 corrupted hollow keys from doing real jack stuff and the whole cracking relics there in Void Storms. Then go see Ergo Glast and pick one of these up and try and get a good roll on these. Mine is basically junk at 28% still because I don't have enough to actually buy a new one. But this, I want to say, up until the new war, this was by far my favourite melee weapon in quite some time. Not just because visually having 2 swords is absolutely amazing, but it also has 38% crit chance, 22% status, 190 total damage, a 1.0 attack speed. It has pretty much everything. The only downside I saw to this is having 2 blades. The heavy attacks should be doubled. It just has normal damage for heavy attacks, whereas dual wielding things can sometimes have 2 times damage. So slam attack should be ×2, which would double the damage for the heavy attack of this thing. And I still love using this thing. It was always going to be the first Tenet melee weapon I went for because it looked really nice. I did not expect it to be as good as it ended up actually being, and it had to be on this list, and the only reason that this is higher than the Nell is because technically the Nell is broken, and it's also a brand new weapon, and it also breaks that one rule I've had in the past where primes kind of can't be in it because they are new versions of older weapons. The Exec isn't that. I'm saying that. It was really hard. At number 3 had to be the Kuvak Ratla or the Kuvak Heck, but I decided I'm not putting the Kuvak Heck on this because I am kind of biased towards that, and the Kuvak Ratla is kind of a new version of the Ratla. It technically has a slower fire rate, twice the magazine size, takes longer to reload, has more crit, has more status, but does less damage. Yes, it is one of those weapons, but the added elemental effect you can have on this, because it is technically a Kuva based weapon and you get it from a Kuva Lich, does kind of increase the damage once you actually equip it. Which, to be fair, I loved the normal Ratla. As for arc guns, my favourite is still the Cortege, the flamethrower, but this, if it wasn't for the dual Jikurions, I think this would probably be my favourite, and I would really, really love to turn around and say this is even better than the Kuva Ayanga, which was the original Kuva-based arc gun. But I had to add it to this simply because it was this year, and what I wanted to add it this year wasn't actually out this year. It was out last year, but I'd kind of already made that list beforehand. Do believe it's on there anyway, but it kind of still slightly annoying I didn't get that done. But the Kuvak Ratla, it is just one of those weapons that works when it's supposed to work. It has quite a big radial attack to it, and just generally the Kuva Ayang was good. This is just slightly better because it looks better. It has technically less crit and technically less damage, but it does have twice the magazine than the Ayang does. But this is also technically breaking my own rules. I just like this thing enough, it had to be on this list, and I don't think I've actually done I was going to say Kuva, but technically have arc guns before. Cortege, I really can't remember what I chose last year. Should probably have had a look at that before doing this, but the Ratla, it had to be. It is kind of an overlooked weapon because all the Tenet stuff turned up at the same time. And on that, coming in at number 2, the Vermi Splicer. Oh, no, wait, we can't have that. It is, in fact, the Tenet Envoy, because the Vermi Splicer was last year. It was actually November, I do believe it was, of 2020. So it's, as much as I would love to have put that on here, because it's definitely my most used weapon of the year, can't. So the Tenet Envoy had to be there, because I've used that thing so much. I only took it off for one reason, and that's in first place. But this thing, since it came out, this is technically a new weapon, because it's the first of the suitcase primaries. It is obtainable from a sister, that would be from the Sisters of Porvos, and just the way that this weapon works has always kind of amazed me. The shooting of the rockets, the way that they can come back to you if you are quick enough to turn them round, the fact that you can extend their range using Ivora, there's so many different aspects to the Tenet Envoy that were in themselves absolutely amazing, that it had to be on here. Because I used it so much, it had to be high on here. It's not an end-all type weapon. It's, how do I put this? 28% crit chance, 24% status chance, mainly impact based, unless of course you get a decent roll on it. Mine has 55.2. It was the best drop I got from pretty much all sisters, but it only has an impact of 100 as its base damage, with, well, technically the radial stuff is kind of down to the elemental side of things, but it's cold based, which is great because it slows down enemies. But throw a decent mod set on there. This is one of the weapons that I would love to get a Riven for, because it would take something that can easily do 15,000 or 20,000 radial attack and double it. I've seen people getting a lot of damage with this thing, but I literally had it equipped from the time I got it, after leveling everything else up, till now. well, about a week ago, when I finally did the new war quest, because as everybody could probably expect at this point, in at number 1, the natarok. That's right. This bow was just... there is no other way to put it. The massive downside to this is you have to complete the new war quest to get a hold of it. But once you have a hold of it, it basically has a magazine capacity of 1 and an ammo stock of infinite. I do still kind of disagree with the fact that it's an alarming bow. That doesn't quite sit that well with me, but it does more damage than the Tenet Envoy does. By a lot. Its base damage is, well, after modding, mine was just over 10 and a bit thousand. The charge shot is twice that, and the perfect shot is about the same as the charge shot, if we're being honest here. But the crit chance, with a few mods thrown in here, the perfect shot is 150% crit chance with 140% status chance. I mean, best way I can put this. 125% crit with 140% status, doing 20,588 damage. That's a lot of damage. But a perfect shot gets you 150% crit chance with a 5.3 times multiplier. There is a reason this thing is the weapon to go for in Warframe in just going forward. Getting this thing, the fact it's only after the new war you can get your hands on it, the biggest downside to this is what everybody is expecting to happen the first or second week of January 2022. Because this thing is so powerful, it's not, you can mod it to be powerful, it is not powerful all of the time. It is rewarding you for landing charge shots in just the right area, the perfect shot in just the right area. It's kind of rewarding you for. Charge shot, same thing, you've taken the time to do it. That is why it is doubling the damage. It works as it is supposed to. But everybody is expecting the same thing when Digital Extreme come back, because everybody is basically using this thing, and it's a monster of a weapon. But I wouldn't say it's overpowering of a weapon, because its quick shots, they're not actually that powerful. It's just the charge shot, but you have to risk actually doing it to get it. The Tenet Envoy was kind of the best for a while. This has taken over from it, and the Tenet Envoy will probably end up better than this, which sucks because I love bows, I love this weapon, and I'm really hoping they don't. But what do you think of my list? A lot of people will disagree. This was literally just my list, and I'm still torn whether the Ratla should actually be on here, because it's not an original weapon. It is a upgraded, better version of an existing weapon. Nell Prime is also kind of the same, but that thing is amazing in itself, even though it's broken. Let me know in the comment section below, what was your top 5 weapons in Warframe for 2021? Think we'll leave this off here. I'm going to enjoy the natarok while I can before they absolutely destroy it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.